Hello, everyone. I hope I'm audible and visible to everyone. Okay, great. So, good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all the attendees present today. It is truly an honor to host this insightful session on mind over matter, mastering stress management and peak performance in law school. Thank you all for joining us today. I understand stress is an inevitable part of law students' journey, whether it's meeting academic deadlines, preparing for exams, or navigating career uncertainties. Even in the legal profession, the pressure to perform is immense, making stress management a crucial long term success. In today's fast paced and demanding work culture, learning to master stress is not just an option but a necessity. I'm Harshita, currently in my second year of BA Legal Studies at OP Jindal Global University. I've been part of NJRC team since December 2024, and it has been a fantastic journey so far. I extend my warm welcome to Dr. Shivangi Sinha. Our speakers for today are Dr. Shivangi Sinha and Advocate Harshit Anand, and all the attendees to this webinar. I welcome all of you for the webinar on mastering stress management and peak performance in law school. I'm honored to be
you. So, one quick thing before we move on, I would like to tell all of you that today we are experimenting with something new. So, since we are having two speakers on board, what we will be doing is that we will be having two Q&As. So, firstly, Shivangi ma'am will take her session. She'll give her insights, and then you can ask her about anything you have in your mind. And then our other speaker, that is Harshit sir, he will take over and you can ask him the separate questions.
Thank you, Misha. So I would take a moment to introduce our esteemed council. So WICCI is a premier national business chamber for women, envisioning global impact for women entrepreneurs, business women and professionals from all walks of life that currently has the backing of over 250,000 members from global and influential women's network, including G100, Women Economic Forum, etc. The National Judicial Reforms Council operates under the aegis of the Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. As a women led council, we are dedicated to advancing legal discourse, advocating for judicial reforms, and equipping aspiring legal professionals with the skills necessary to thrive in the legal field. We are a dedicated team of council members led by our president, Ms. Devanshi Parshar, and vice president, Ms. Lavanya Bhatt. Together, we work to drive fundamental changes in governmental policies, laws, and incentives at all levels, collectively striving to empower and encourage women in business, industry, and commerce. We are honored to have with us Dr. Shivangi Sinha Ma'am, an expert in mental health and stress management with a strong background in corporate law and arbitration. She holds a BBA LLB honors in corporate law from KIIT Law School and LLM in corporate law from NUSRL Ranchi and a PhD in arbitration and corporate law from Bharati Vidyapeeth. Dr. Sinha has experience in litigation, handling civil, criminal, and writ matters at the Jharkhand High Court. She has worked as a legal expert at LEDEX and serves as a subject matter expert at TCS ION. Currently, she is a faculty of law at BVDU NLC Pune and GGU USA. She is also a member of the Young Mumbai of International Arbitration and the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. Her expertise spans corporate law, business law, alternate dispute resolution, cyber law, legal research, and writing. She has numerous publications in ADR, corporate law, cyber law, and insolvency laws in national and international journals, including UGC and Scopus indexed ones. Thank you, Dr. Shivangi Sinha ma'am, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And the second speaker for this session would be Advocate Harshit Anand. Harshit Anand practices at the Supreme Court of India. So before moving to the court full time, he has worked at solicitor firms like Trilegal, Gurgaon, and Ketan and Co. Kolkata. He specializes in constitutional and property law. Thank you, Advocate Harshit Anand, sir, for joining us today. So, this workshop, Managing Stress to Law School Strategies for Final Year Success, is designed to help you develop the tools and techniques needed to manage stress effectively and perform at your best. We will be diving deep into the bigger stresses faced by final year law students, psychological and physical effects on stress on your health and career decisions, expert backed stress management techniques, including time management, cognitive behavioral strategies, and mindfulness practices, practical applications, panel discussions, and peer sharing opportunities to exchange personal experiences and solutions. Our esteemed speaker, Dr. Shivangi Sinha, and advocate Harshit Anand, will share their expertise and experience to guide you through their demanding phase of law school. So get ready to the gain insightful practices, practical insights, engage in interactive discussions, and walk away with actionable strategies to navigate this crucial year with confidence. The floor is open to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I am Dr. Shivangi Sinha. Good evening to each and everyone present here. And firstly, I'm very much thankful to the National Judicial Reform Council, which obviously operates under the aegis of Women India Chamber of Commerce, for giving me this opportunity to address one of the most interesting topic of today's time, because it is, from coming from an academic background. So I know this mastering stress management is actually one of the peak thing which has to be taken into consideration. And actually, it is a pleasure to be here today addressing a room filled with all the aspiring legal professionals who will soon be the future, of our justice system. Now, considering law, it is one of the most intellectual, rigorous, and I would say, demanding academic pursuits in today's time. So it not only requires that, you need to have a sharp legal acumen, but also you need to have a proper time management, the ability to perform under intense pressure. All these things comes into a baggage, I would say. And this is particularly very true for the final year law students, because they stand at a threshold of from that transformation of academics to the real world of practicing law. Now, as you juggle between your courseworks, your internships, your moot courts, I would say the research paper, job application, your exam preparation, all these stress keep on adding on, and it becomes an inevitable companion for you. Now, however, this has to be taken into consideration that the key to success lies in how you manage your stress and how you try and optimize your performances to achieve your career aspiration. Today, I'll just try and explore some various aspects of stress management and performance enhancement, and we'll try to navigate, especially the final years, that how you can prepare during these times and how you can take things into consideration. Okay, so speaking about the first aspect, that would be how you can understand that what are the different stress which come with you in the law school. Now, this particular stress is a natural response to every challenging situation, I would say. Now, it becomes very chronic due to constant deadlines, competitive pressures, high expectations. Okay, then there is also a fear of failure, then self doubt. All these things try to exacerbate your stress level. So before we discuss that how we can manage it, first let us try and understand that what could be the root cause for the same. Okay, so the first thing is that could be your high pressure environment, because we all are aware of the fact that to master the complex legal concepts, you need to draft your articulate arguments, you need to perform well under the scrutiny, the constant need to excel in the assignments, in the moods, in the exam. All these things are very overburdening. Okay, and even the final year students, they particularly face the additional pressure because they are preparing for their placements, they are preparing for their judicial examinations, or even LLM for that matters. Okay, so there's a lot of burden of academic excellence. That is one thing. So there is constant high academic performance, and then you need to have a deeper understanding of all your skill subjects, so that whenever you are entering into that particular field where you have to prove yourself, you are actually know that where do you stand. Okay, then another pressure which comes across is with respect to your moot courts and research works. We all are very much aware of the fact that all these legal trainings which are being there for the students has to be constant. We just cannot say that we are just doing the study, the academic part, and we cannot do this research. No, you have to have that mooting requirement. You need to have that exhaustive, I would say, the research methodology, the drafting of persuasive memorials, each and everything has to be done accordingly. And I believe everything is having a tight deadline. Then another thing which comes into picture is your internships and practical training. You just cannot jump into your legal profession without having a deep rooted understanding about the practical experience. And here I would say that internship definitely play a very crucial role in shaping law students career, providing you that kind of exposure to, I would say, the different areas of law to try and build your professional network. Okay. And then when it comes to final year students, they often juggle with multiple internship at law firms, litigation chambers, legal departments, okay, public policy organization, and managing their coursework, their other work, and whatnot. So I think these are some of the very I think basic pressures which come across with the final year students, not only for the final year students, for the entire law students. Okay. Along with this, one thing which is a deep seated thing in everyone's mind is the fear of failure. Okay. That anxiety that looms over every academic text which we give, every internship application, every professional milestone. Okay. So we know, we are aware of the fact that we need to have a relentless pursuit of excellence, but at the same point of time, in order to have that high achievement, that in order to have that mindset, okay, that we need to have that accomplishment in our mind, there's a lot of expectations which takes a larger toll on each and of the every student. And then there is never ending workload. Okay. There are so many different disciplines which comes into picture, but when we talk about law, we know that there is a vast syllabus which we need to cover, both at the this side of the table and that side of the table. There is effective time management which has to be taken into consideration. And then there's always last minute cramming, sleepless nights, mental exhaustion. So all these things add on to your stress. Okay. Now this is very important, that you need to manage this stress, okay, in your law school, because if you don't manage your stress, then at the same point of time, I don't think you will be able to achieve something which you have thought initially. Okay. So in order to show your capabilities, in order to achieve your future success, it is very important that you have the self control on your stress, your anxiety, your self doubt, etc. Okay.
एक काम
So
करते
for
हैं
that, I would
बट
suggest that first foremost, which is very
इसको बोल
basic,
दे दाल
you need
बनाते
to
जैसे
have your
बीबीए का
time management done, which is very important. Okay. You need to plan your studies effectively. You have to avoid that last minute cramming, because I'm very much aware of the fact that no matter how much anyone says, how much anyone,
जीरा भी मत
gives that kind of mindset, but that last minute, preparation and everything is always there. But the best thing to manage the
कम लगा
stress is you
बना देती
need
है
to avoid that. You need to have a
हाँ
good
थोड़ा
time
सा बड़ा
management.
बनाते हैं ऐसा बोलते
The
हैं
moment you
तो
have the
बताना
poor
कैसे
time
बनाते हैं
management, it
वैसे
is adding to your increase of anxiety. It is
जीरा कैसे
reducing the
डालते हैं
ability
ऐसे
to,
वो
I would say, retain information effectively. So you need to have a create schedule for your breaks. You have to manage your
उसको बोलना उसको तेरा जीरा
potentials.
नहीं पसंद
You need to
वो
set
तेरे
out your
से कर
priorities, because that is very important. Suppose if you have an
हाँ तो जीरा
assignment
मत डाल उसको
submission and there
फ्लेवर
are
आता है
6
जीरा मत
subjects
डालना
down the
राई
line,
डाल दे
you
राई
are very much aware of the fact that yes, of course, this is the first subject
ये
where I
राई
have to submit my assignment. So that is how you set your priority, right? This is how you base on your topics, on your past papers, on your professional guidelines, on your personal weakness, you try and set your priorities. Then at that point of time, eventually you will avoid that overloading which keeps on happening. Okay. Try and have those breaks in between, so that you can keep yourself active, and that early preparation is definitely going to help you a lot. So that is one thing which I have found out, that if the students do practice, it's definitely going to help them. Then something which is not related to our discussion, but I'm definitely going to put into account, is the mental and physical health balance. Okay. That is also very important. That comes how you prioritize your sleep, what you are doing for your regular fitness, what kind of meals you are having, what kind of mindfulness and relaxation you are practicing, because that comes hand in hand. You just cannot say that before entering into the law school I had a very healthy routine. in between the law school I cannot have any of these things because I have to focus on my studies. No, that doesn't give any kind of good information around. So you need to have that kind of prioritizing sleep, your regular exercise, your balanced diet enhancement, your, your process and your productivity is going to come out from that. Then you need to understand law school is not a marathon. Okay, you are being given the opportunities to learn. Okay, you should avoid different type of comparison. You should try and acknowledge the small wins you get, and try and think beyond the grades as well, because most of the time what happens that, that is even my perspective when I see to the students or when I guide the students for the placement, that most of the time your CV does not say what exactly you are the person. Okay, or you as the person, I would say. So therefore, just try and think beyond these things as well. Have a sole determination that how are you going to take things forward. Have your own networks, take internships, have practical experiences. Okay, that is definitely going to play a very significant role when you feel that you need to shape your future in law. Then another thing which I feel is talking. You should seek support. This is nothing wrong. Talk to your professionals, talk to your mentors, or talk to whom you feel that you can get a good advice. Communicate with your professor, reach out to your mentors. Okay, try and have a joint study groups for some concept or boost motivation. Have time to talk to your family and friends. Okay, and also seek professional help if it is required, because it is not a wrong thing. You cannot say that this is a mental challenge combat which is coming. No, 10 people are going to talk about me, how am I going to do that? No, most of the time what happens is the people try and lose interest because they don't talk. Okay, most of the thing they're just keeping inside and they feel that yes, I know the solution of it. No, most of the time you're not aware how the solution is. Maybe if you're talking to 10 different people, you might get a good solution out of it. Right, so you need to understand this particular thing also, that sharing knowledge, discussing these legal concepts tries to boost your motivation as well. Okay, now another important part is that yes, of course, like I mentioned, that you need to think beyond the grades, but at the same point of time there is the importance of grades in law school. Okay, there is something which we cannot say that no, this is something which you can ignore and move ahead. Why am I saying this? Because managing stress obviously plays a very important role, a very crucial role in the law student's life with respect to their professional journey, because grades can be an influential opportunity for you yourself to go for any internship,
अच्छा अच्छा
to
ठीक है
join any clerkship,
हाँ
any job placement, any scholarship, or any high education project. Okay, because this is how you are representing yourself. So make sure that a good, strong academic record is there with you, because it can open lot of doors, lot of prestigious doors for you. So therefore this stress management is very important. When I say that you need to think beyond the grades, that doesn't mean that you don't think about your grades, because if you're not thinking about the grades, then I think there is no point in having this integrated 5 years law course or LLB 3-year course, or going for LLM or pursuing PhD. Makes no sense, right? So you need to have that kind of I would say the competitive knowledge. Okay, whether you are in the corporate law, whether you're opting for litigation, whether you're going for judicial clerkship, make sure that you are aware that what you're doing. And however, obviously the grades are not, I would say, the sole determinant of your success in the legal profession. So side by side, have that practical ability for your legal research, for your drafting, for your networking, for your mooting, for your courtroom experiences. Analyze the legal issues which are coming into picture. Think critically, communicate effectively, because communication, drafting, everything comes hand in hand. Okay, so therefore everything is having their own same importance. In the same way, when you present yourself in the examination, when you write any of the answer, okay, that is also one of the most important thing. And a lot of things, a lot of stress comes into that picture, that you know everything, but when it comes to expressing yourself while speaking or writing, people are not able to do it. Okay, so that is also one of the biggest challenge I feel that the students face when it comes to stress management. So in that way, I would just write, I just want to say that there are few points which you need to know when you write your effective answers. Like for instance, have a good structure of your answer. Okay, there is a method called IREC method, which says issue, rule, application, and conclusion. Try and follow that. It's very easy. Try and identify the different issues which you have in the question. Rule the state, I would say the relevant legal provisions, the principles. Application, analyze how you can apply those rules. And conclusion, summarize your arguments logically and concisely. I think this is how you can structure your answer. Okay, now because you are a law student, definitely anyone wants that you should have those case laws and precedents, landmark judgments, relevant case laws. So if specific cases are not recalled, just have the general legal principle, which we say ratio decidency. Just have the refer those general legal principles which can upheld in the past rulings. That is definitely going to help you. Then have the clear and concise knowledge. Okay, try to avoid unnecessary jargon and complex language, because that is giving, that is not going to take you anywhere. You do have a lot of places where you will be getting the opportunity to showcase your complex language. Okay, ensure that your answers are logical, they are well structured, well paragraphed, they are to the point, and most important, focus on your time management once again. Because obviously when you are writing your examination, it's just not that you're writing one question and your examination is over. So there has to be a specific time per question which is to be given to attempt all the question. And try and prioritize your high mark question, because these days I know when we follow the CBCS pattern or when we go for other things, that most of the question carries the equal number. But then still you can prioritize your time management, focus on your time management, that how you can enhance your answer, how you can present it, how you can showcase your legal reasoning effectively. Okay, with this, one another important topic which comes into picture is research paper and articles. Okay, now I would say that legal writing is an essential skill for law students, whether you're writing it for journals, whether you're writing it for conferences, whether you're writing for academic reports or anything. You need to demonstrate your analytical ability, you need to have a good legal reasoning, you need to have the command over the subject. Okay, so how are you going to do it? There are just few points you need to remember, and you need to follow in each and every research paper you write. Make sure that first you're choosing a relevant topic. Okay, select something which is current, I would say legally significant, academically valuable. Okay, then you can have enough of legal literature on that done. That would be my third point. Use credible legal resources. We all are very citing on. So make sure that you have that credible legal sources. Okay, rely on the primary sources, your legislations, your court decisions. Okay, then comes your secondary sources, your books and commentaries. Okay, this is how you should plan your research extensively. Then make sure that you have a proper citation and referencing, because this is one of the most important aspect. Know the difference between footnotes, know the difference between references, know the difference between literature review. All these are very important when it comes to research. Okay, try and follow different citation styles which have been given, whether it's Blue Book or Scholar, anything. Okay, anything which tries and maintain your academic integrity. And these credits which you have been giving, okay, this actually tries and avoid one of the most important thing, that is plagiarism. So that has to be taken into consideration. And then once you're done with all these things, just have your effective proofreading, all your grammatical errors, your inconsistencies, if it is coming here and there, any kind of weak arguments which is being followed, everything is will be taken into consideration. And then when you will read the paper, you will feel that okay, now it is structured, it is cohort, it is having a impactful, well researched legal writings anywhere. Okay, even for their professional backgrounds. So these are some of the important aspects, because we do have a time crunch, so I'm not going to take much of the time, and that is the reason I just want to say that these are the things how you can actually manage your stress over. So as final year students, you are on the, I would say, the cusp of entering a demanding yet rewarding profession. Okay, so the way you handle your stress today is going to shape your career in the years which are going to come. So while challenges are inevitable, you need to develop those resilience, you need to have that time management skill, you need to have that emotional intelligence as well, you need to have that adaptability that is going to ensure that you are going to emerge stronger tomorrow. Okay, remember the legal profession is not just about laws and precedents. It's also about the endurance which you are doing, the strategy, the different strategy which you are following, and unwavering commitment to justice, because this is what we actually seek for at the end of the day. So try and believe in yourself, seek guidance whenever necessary, take every challenge as a stepping stone towards your goal. And I can say that with the right mindset and strategies, you are not only going to survive, but you are also going to thrive in this demanding profession. Okay, and with this note, I would also like to end my discussion with a small line which has been stated by Aristotle. You all, most of you are final year students, most of you are studying throughout, so must be aware of the subject jurisprudence and Aristotle. So he stated that excellence is never an accident. Okay, it's always the result of your high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. So I think this is something which should be taken into consideration by every person who is here. And with this, I would like to end my discussion today, sticking to the time frame, and I'm open to any of the questions which are there. Over to you, Harshita and Misha.
Thank you, ma'am. Those insights were really comprehensive, and yes, we have got to know a lot today. So now I would request everyone to start dropping your questions, whatever questions you have for ma'am, and ma'am will answer it.
Okay, so I need to check on with the chat box, right? Okay. How do you differentiate between productive stress that helps us perform better and harmful stress that leads to burnout? Okay. So, with this, I would say that there is something called a conscious call, okay, which we all are very much aware whenever we are doing any kind of task. So, I can just give a very small example about, just let's take an example of law. We all are aware of the fact that there's something called comparative law. Okay, so if you will have the comparison in a way that, okay, these are the things which are being done by this particular country, and this is something which I need to adapt, and this is how I can take things forward. This is something which is productive in nature. But the moment you feel that, oh my God, he has done so much and I am standing nowhere, I need to stop that person from the success, and I need to see that how I can even reach that, immediately comes into a negative way, right? So the process is the same. You need to use your own conscious, and you need to say that how are you going to apply that knowledge. The moment you are taking into a negative way, that is eventually going to burn out, that is eventually going to give you a lot of stress. So if you're saying that, okay, this country has done so many things and we are still into a developing stage, we need to adapt these things and take our things forward, it's definitely going to work out with that. But the moment you feel that, no, I have to stop their productivity also, no, not going to help out. So I think that is how you can take this particular thing forward. Okay, next is with respect to self-confidence. Okay, self-confidence causes stress that take a toll on performance in every aspect. How we can tackle this obstacle? So I think for the self-confidence, I also mentioned some of the points which can definitely be taken into consideration. So when we are talking about self-confidence, it is something you're having a self-doubt about, right? So you are doubting yourself that whatever I'm going to do, maybe it's not turning out to be nice, or it is not coming out in the way it should be. So what am I supposed to do? How am I going to take things forward? Okay, so for that, the first thing is that you need to believe in yourself. The moment you start believing in yourself, that self confidence starts coming into picture. I won't say that these things are, it's very easy to practice. No, it's not. Because even coming at this stage, when we are at this stage, when I am taking up lectures, even I am learning a lot of things at this point of time, because law is ever learning, you are always learning in that. So even I feel at some point of time that I am not very confident about it. How am I going to take things forward? Take a time back. Okay, understand what I'm trying to do. Just see that whether if I'm going to do, am I not going to achieve the objective which I thought about. Okay, so this is how you can do certain groundworks. And like I told you, time management and giving yourself the kind of time, both has to be balanced equally. Okay. Okay, how to write answers in exam effectively? Please elaborate more points. Okay, so I have mentioned some of the points. Okay, and I would just like you to enhance and to understand that particular thing, that whatever have been stated, that most of the time what happens, that students just try and write a lot of synopsis when they start with the question, and when they write the answer they end up writing nothing. Okay, and if suppose there is a question which is asking about ABC, you have to write about XYZ, then you have to write about LJK, and then you go to that particular point. Makes no sense. So I would suggest that, you being the law student, you should not beat around the bushes. Be very effective. The way you frame your memorials, you don't beat around the bush, right? If there are certain issues which are being given, this is how you frame it. See what is the marks, and according to the marks, according to your time, just write what you know. Try and make your answers very clear, very sustainable, very concise, and stick to the points. Most importantly, like I told, that we are coming from the law background, we need to have case laws, we need to have precedents, we need to have legislations mentioned. When you're writing about any of the statute, for instance, if you're mentioning about Indian Contract Act, just don't write Indian Contract Act and leave. Write Indian Contract Act 1872. If you're talking about Companies Act, we know that there is an amendment. 1956 Act was the previous. Now we have 2013. Make sure that you write the years correctly. So this is how you can make your, informative answers more precise and clear. Okay. Moving to next, I'm quite perplexed that what opportunities that I should have or should I grab. Okay, you're in your last semester. Aarti, I just want to say that, okay, because there are so many questions which are being popping up, so I can do one thing. You all can also share my LinkedIn profile link. The students can even connect to me. If we have a time crunch, I can definitely answer their questions there. So this is some, information which I just want to share. But yes, of course, taking the questions which are already there. So when you're in your last semester and you're quite perplexed that what opportunities you should grab for, first thing is that see that where your interest lies. That is the first thing. See what your CV speaks for, which subject you are much more inclined at. Okay, that is one thing which you should know. Secondly, always have a second option. Okay, always have a second option, because supposingly if you're preparing for judiciary, or if you want to go for a corporate sector, or you want to practice in law, always know that if this is not going to happen, I'm not saying that this is not going to happen, this will happen, but at the same point of time, make sure that you're also convinced with any of the other subjects which you can take up in future. Okay, so first thing, do some self introspection, and then see that what is basically more interesting you. If you know the matter of fact that this is something which interests me more, you can, turn out your line in that way. Okay, how you can get internships in corporate law firm? So basically, obviously, you need to have good knowledge about the basic corporate laws which is there. There are different ways by which you can, apply. There are tier 1 firm, tier 2, tier 3. You have chambers, you have corporate sectors which practices corporate law. The first thing is, what we suggest is that you can definitely drop, either you can go through your placement cells of your particular college. If no, you can definitely drop a formal LinkedIn message. You can also have formal official mails where you can reach out to the HR. Okay, and also I just want to give one heads up that these days when you're talking about tier 1 firms or tier 2 firms, they're having advanced booking for the internships. So I would suggest that if you're seeking for December, you should start applying now. Okay, so that would be my suggestion, especially for the tier 1 firms. Okay. Okay, thank you for landing your insights over psychology of bringing one forward over stress. But my perplexity is to more how to reach or bring research papers on table. Now, Dia, I know research is something which is very important these days. Okay, and that is the reason on and off I keep on taking different sessions also on research. I just have a small understanding about how you can write a research paper. But when you're talking about research, make sure that what you want to research on. The first thing which I would like to suggest is never take a very lengthy topic where you have a lot of information already available. Okay, then what new you are bringing to the table? You can take up a small issue where you feel that here's there is a loophole and I can actually work on that. I think that would be much more great, and that is going to give you more, I would say, substance where you can actually research on very practically and properly. Okay, how to read judgment and citation in easy manner. So you have your ratio decidency. Okay, you have your different websites. You have Westlaw, you have Manupatra, everywhere. Everywhere, when the judgment starts, you have a particular paragraph which eventually speaks about what is the particular case about. Okay, so that is one thing which you should know. Secondly, you should definitely, obviously, it's not possible for everyone to read those 100 pages, 200 pages judgments until and unless it is very important. And yes, of course, time and again it has been asked in the examination whether it's Keshav Nanda Bharti case or anything else. So I would suggest that just first and foremost, for your examination preparation and for your knowledge, you should definitely stick to the part of the ratio decidency, that is on what is the issue and what is the basic principle which has been followed in this particular judgment. So this is how you're going to take things forward. Okay, how to make effective memorial for moot court. Okay, few days back I just took a session on that how you can have an effective memorial for moot courts as well. So every moot court requires different requirement. You need to understand that whether you're going for a trial or whether you are going for a moot court which is involved with human rights or anything of that sort. So the most important is that there are certain things which has to be taken into consideration. One is your drafting skill. Make sure that whatever drafting you're doing is appropriate. Also make sure that the authorities which you are citing is actually the proper authorities which I have already mentioned, because you're a law student. Okay, when you're writing about facts, when you're putting out issues, when you're giving out arguments advance, when you are giving out your when you are stating that this is how I'm going to put my arguments, your detailed arguments, when you are stating your prayers, which side you are actually arguing for, all these small details has to be taken into consideration when you talk about memorial. And I would also like to say that when we are talking about memorial drafting, it actually requires a separate class, that how you can take this particular forward. But then yes, of course, I've just tried to tell you the bullet points that how you can take things in accordance to your memorial. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. I think we have a time crunch, so ma'am would not be
Yes.
able to take more questions. So you can all, like, as ma'am already told, you can reach out to her and like get your doubts clarified. But yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for joining
Thank you.
us.
Thank you so
And
much.
your expertise and valuable strategies will definitely help all of us. And we have the next speaker for today's session, Advocate Harshit Anand. We are honored to have Advocate Harshit Anand with us today. Harshit Anand practices at the Supreme Court of India. Before moving to the full-time court, he has also worked at the solicitor firms like Trilegal, Gurgaon and Ketan and Co. Kolkata. He specializes in constitutional and property law. Harshit sir, the floor is open for you.
Hi everyone. So, really great to be here, and I see ma'am has already spoken at length about a lot of things that you ought to do as a final year student. Uh, Instead of now me telling you what needs to be done or what you should do, because anyway, see, there's no one size fits all formula. Like law school is one, uh, I would say law school is one avenue where there are so many opportunities that you end up there are probably two kinds of people in law school. There's one type of people who choose a particular avenue, who choose a particular activity and then pursue it from the end to from the beginning to the end. For example, there are certain people who only write papers and go for paper presentations. There are people who solely focus on internships, because internships, of course, are a very good medium to learn. Then there are people who participate extensively in moot court competitions. There are people who participate in debate competitions, in MUN competitions. So law school is peculiar in the sense that it gives you so many opportunities that it's really important. I think one of the most important things is you figuring out what is the best way in which you learn. Because see, one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that you might choose to do whatever once you graduate. Like some of you might not remain lawyers, so to speak. Some of you might become civil servants. Some of you might do MBA and do something else, become entrepreneurs. Some of you might become judges in different state judiciaries. But one thing that you have to realize is that what you're preparing for right now, or what you have prepared for in the last 5 years or so, is to become a lawyer. So the first thing that you become once you step out of law school is a lawyer. And it is only then that you become either a civil servant or a judge, or say an in-house counsel or a court practitioner or a firm lawyer, whatever you may choose depending upon your inclination and opportunity. So what does it make to be a successful lawyer? Or I would not even say successful. What does it make to be a good lawyer, a decent lawyer? What are these essential skills that you need to have as a lawyer? And to that effect, the most rudimentary fundamental skills that you need to have as a lawyer, and something which is on the wane today, is the ability to read, the ability to comprehend, and the ability to speak. You need to have these three rudimentary qualities, because these are, just give me a second, I'll just be back in 2 minutes. I'll just take this important call. Hi, sorry. Yeah, so what I was saying is, the three rudimentary fundamental skills that you need to learn, that everybody needs to learn. See, you might not want to become a court lawyer, you might not want to become an arguing counsel, but that does not mean that as a lawyer, you should not inculcate the basic skills of articulating your argument. And this is not only important insofar as writing is concerned, this is also important insofar as the spoken skills are concerned. So, reading for long hours, reading long passages, long texts, comprehending long passages, long text, perhaps complicated text also, because a lot of legal reading includes reading complicated text. And the third would be articulating articulating in, say, measured words, what you want to convey orally. So how do you, these are I've put it very in three very umbrella phrases. What are these learnings, and how exactly do you inculcate this? So what do you do when you enter law school? You start writing papers. Your teachers suggest topics. Your peers discuss topics. Your friends, your batchmates, your seniors, your juniors, they discuss topics, and you write on those topics. You present your papers on these topics. Similarly, you participate in moot court competitions, internal and external, and you are given problems, legal problems, and then you make your memorials on those legal problems and you submit. So these are very essential activities which over the years while you're in law school help you develop and sharpen these skills. Now, how is fifth year, the final year, different from these formative years? Is that by the time you reach your fifth year, most of us, I mean, it's not again, like I said, it's not a one cloth fits all rule. But by the time we reach our fifth year, most of us are, say, mostly determined as to what we want to do. Like people who want to join law firms, by the time they are in their fifth year, they have already done, say, significant number of internships to either have a job or they're probably looking for a pre-placement offer through their internships at various places. People who want to write judiciary are preparing for their judiciary exams by reading, by practicing writing. People who want to join in-house firms also are probably planning to, say, interview at different places. So what happens is, by the time you're in your fifth year, you already have a particular goal in your mind. It may be a long-term goal, it may be a short-term goal. There are certain people who might be preparing for, say, UPSC. So these people again have a long way to go ahead. They have to prepare for the exam, they have to read a lot, they have to write a lot, they have to give practice papers, they have to then take a very lengthy exam over the course of a couple of years. So what I'm trying to say is that these short immediate goals might differ, but then coming back to the central point as to what is that common thread which combines or which runs through all of you, irrespective of whatever you want to become after your fifth year, is the fact that the moment you step out of law school, you are going to become a lawyer. And therefore, to justify being in a law school for 5 years, you need to have those essential rudimentary skills that a lawyer should have. And these skills are always, irrespective of where you go, irrespective of whether you land up in a courtroom as a lawyer, or you land in a courtroom as a judge, or whether you land in an in-house role, or whether you join a firm, or whether you become a civil servant, these, or whether you become a teacher, or whether you say you pursue higher studies and then you land up in law school again, in whatever law school, to teach students again. These skills, these basic skills that add up to you becoming a decent lawyer, are going to hold you in good stead in every avenue, in each of these avenues that I just discussed. So what I believe is, as a fifth year student, while you pursue each of these specific activities that you are pursuing, you may be, say, reading for your UPSC exams, or you may be preparing for your LLM exams, you may be preparing for your job interview, you may be preparing for your firm interview, you may be doing a running internship with a chamber that you want to join once you graduate. But what you should not give up on is these essential activities that you start doing early on. Because you might think that, okay, I already have, say, 3 papers on my CV. What do I need another paper for? I already have 2 moot court competitions on my CV. What do I need a third moot court competition for? What I'm trying to say is that these activities have more value than a simple addition to your CV. Because what will happen is, once you graduate and once you spend 3-4 years in the profession, you will see that your personality and your reputation as a lawyer is way more than a 2-pager CV that you prepare for yourself. And your reputation actually runs with you, your personality, the way you interact with people, the way you approach problems. And in our profession, as legal professionals, as lawyers, as judges, as civil servants, whatever, it is your personality that you carry with you in every second that you spend with people, in every second that you spend with your professional peers, more than the CV. Nobody reads CVs anymore. Let me be honest with you. People know that what you write on your CV is probably like an HD version of what you actually are. And that's true for all of us. That's not just true for like you guys are still students. That's true for everyone. But what actually matters is, when you're given with a live problem, when you handle a live problem, a legal problem, or a practical problem, whatever, in real life, once college ends, how do you handle that problem? How do you handle a legal issue? How do you approach a legal problem? What is a solution that comes to your mind? What is a solution that you propose in order to achieve the fastest possible solution, the most effective solution in the shortest possible time? That is something that you inculcate only through practice. So as a fifth year person, your focus should be on doing skills such as writing, such as moot court competitions, such as internships, which help you with these problem solving skills. These problem solving skills will hold you in good stead throughout your career. And mind you, we are in a career that spans for a long, long time. We are not going to be in a career where we work 9 to 5 and then once we step out of office, our job ends. You also have to realize what you have signed up for. When you have signed up to be a lawyer, when you have signed up to be somebody in the legal profession, the profession becomes a practice. There's only three professions in this world which are called practice, where you say that you practice what you're doing. One is, of course, the medical practice. One is theology, the study of religions. And the third is law practice. And the reason why they call it practice is because this is what you do day in and day out. You wake up, you practice, and then you go to sleep. Your profession is nothing but a practice of a certain set of things which exist. And as a practitioner, even as a practitioner today, which say, I've been practicing since the last 7 years now. And even today, not even a day goes by where I don't come across something new, something that I didn't know yesterday. So you have to realize what kind of profession you have chosen for yourself. You have not chosen a profession where you can finish a syllabus over a course of a couple of years. There's nothing that is going to get finished in this profession. So the only thing that you have to aim for, is to practice more and more on a daily basis. Try and remain updated with whatever is going on in your profession. If there's a certain uniform civil code in Uttarakhand, you might not be a resident of Uttarakhand, but you should endeavor to know what the uniform civil code is about. You should endeavor to know the provisions. And not just, when I say you should endeavor to know, I do not mean as a lay person. That even our parents know. Some of our parents who might not be lawyers, or some of our relatives and say cousins or friends who may not be lawyers, even they may know about the Uniform Civil Code because it's been in the news. Or let's say the Advocates Bill, which was protested against and then it was rolled back. When I say that you should know these things, you should know what is contentious about these things and what is the entire fuss about. You should know which provision is problematic, which provision is being protested against. Then all the developments in the legal world. What is happening with the Prevention of Money Laundering Act? What is happening with, say, the new criminal legislations? How are the new criminal legislations different from the old? What exactly has changed? Not a layman's board view, but an actual view of a practitioner, an actual view of a lawyer who can guide someone and advise someone should they need professional advice. So as a fifth year student, you should probably see yourself in not as a senior college student, but as a formative law practitioner. Because your first years of practice, which begin as soon as you step out of college, you should aim that your first year, and from what I know, I may be wrong, and you guys, of course, are in college, so you may know more than me. And at least what I have seen in my experience is that you relatively have less pressure when you're in a fifth year. You do not have that many rigorous subjects. Most of the things are coming to an end. People are settling, leaving. The university administration, irrespective of whatever university it may be, is also easier on you, because so that you get time to focus on other activities, focus on getting a job or preparing for like future opportunities. So one thing that you're not short on when you are a fifth year student is time. And you will realize as you grow old in this profession is that the most valuable thing that you have, and this is a very trite saying, everybody keeps saying this to you, but again, keep in mind that in this profession which you have chosen for yourself, the most important thing that matters more than money, more than resources, more than energy is time. Because there will come an instance in your life very soon, say in the next couple of years, where you would want to learn things, where you would want some time for yourself to know for the sake of knowing, but you won't have time because, of course, you'll be caught up with so much work on whatever front. on irrespective of whatever you choose. So what you should do as a fifth year student is you should try and make the most of your time. Utilize that time to read up more. Utilize that time to specialize. For example, say some of you might just be interested in arbitration law. But when you're interested in arbitration law, what does it mean? Does it only mean knowing, say, 5 leading case laws of arbitration? No. Being interested in arbitration law would mean you keeping abreast with every update that is happening in arbitration law. What is the latest 5-judge bench hearing that has happened with respect to arbitration? What is the new Arbitration Amendment Act which is coming? So my advice to you is, number one, develop, sharpen, polish. I wouldn't say develop, because by the time you're in a fifth year, you have already developed some of it. But then polish your rudimentary skills of law school. Reading complicated stuff, deciphering, understanding complicated stuff, and lastly, articulating complicated stuff in measured words, in adequate number of words. Secondly, of course, utilize your time well, keep abreast of whatever is happening in the legal world. You may read a lot of other stuff. All of us have different hobbies, different interest areas, which may be legal, which may be non-legal. All of that is okay. And of course, all of us should have hobbies, should have different interest areas. As a lawyer, you should not just read law, you should read everything. So because a lot of things have as a lawyer, if you're only reading the law, then you don't have the perspective to apply your law. And perspective to apply law only comes from a interdisciplinary understanding of things. You need to understand politics, you need to understand sociology, you need to understand economics, you need to understand history. A bit of everything is required for you to actually understand applications of laws, the context of laws. And most importantly, utilize your time well. If you have time on your hand, you should start now to do proper allocation of time. If you have, as a fifth year student, you might have a lot to do, and that is completely understandable. You have to balance internships with extracurricular activities in college, at the same time focusing on curricular activities to maintain your grades. So you have to be you have to be very prudent and judicious with your time. If you have 8 hours on your hand, if you have 10 hours on your hand, you need to do a very serious, proper allocation of time as to how many number of hours do you want to spend studying for your exams, how much time do you want to spend on your extracurricular activities like moot court activities or writing a paper with a friend or a peer, and how much time would you want to spend doing anything else that you want. So whatever time that you've allocated for your professional activities, be it academic or extracurricular, that allocation needs to be very proper, and that allocation needs to be very judicious, depending upon what you want to do. So that is, I don't think there's anything else that I want to tell you in a broad sense. If you have, I would want to keep this more interactive, because I would also want to hear what are your challenges, or what is your perspective insofar as a final year student is concerned. So you ask me your questions, and I'll accordingly tell you what I think about it. I can't say that I'll give you the right answer. I'll give you my perspective.
Yes, sir. So I totally agree with whatever you said, that no matter which field we pursue ahead, reading and articulating the basic core of law, we should not forget that, and we should be taking that with us. And also that being a law student, we should not have a layman understanding of topics. We should know the contentious points of every topic, that of every legal aspect of every legal news that is being there shown. So, yes, I would now like to open the floor for questions. You all can drop your questions and sir can answer it.
So you can check your chat box for the questions.
Sure. I'll just have a look. Yes, so which one of these are for me? One second. So, as you are from corporate field, what quality of firm looking for from a fresh law graduate? Yes. Yes, that's actually a good question. That's a decent question that a lot of people ask, and that's actually important to know. So, for those of you who might want to join, say, I started with a corporate firm, so to speak. I wasn't doing typical corporate work in the strict sense of the term, but I did corporate real estate, banking, finance work while I was in my first couple of years in the practice. So, I think first and the foremost thing that a firm is looking from a fresh graduate is the ability to do quality research. And I'll tell you, this is standard across the board. It's not just firms. I am a, like, in terms of, in the larger scheme of things, I'm a very young practitioner. I am nobody in the profession. I have just spent 7 years. But if I keep an intern, if I hire an intern today, the first thing that I look in an intern, is their ability to do quality research. Because if I am working on something urgent as a practitioner, I'll give you a very small example, a very pertinent example. I have to finish a draft in a couple of hours. I can either draft it or I can do the research for it. If I have someone as an assistant who can give me the exact case laws which are applicable to my case, my work becomes so much easier. Then I can just do the draft and put in the relevant paragraphs of whatever research you're giving me. It's a very rude, again a very basic example, but this is how the profession works. You have to understand the fundamentals first. You have to understand the first principles first. So the first principle of anything, be it a firm, a chamber, whatever, is quality research. And how do you do quality research? Number one, understand the proposition well, what is required of you. Don't hesitate in asking clarifications. See, people do not get irritated if you ask for clarification. People get irritated if you take instructions and 2 hours later you come up with something entirely different. If you have 5 doubts, ask 5 doubts. I'm telling you, nobody reasonable will get irritated. After that, give them a quality output. Give them good research. Give them good case laws, good commentary, good articles, whatever is required. But first and foremost, like I told you, is quality research. Quality research with, again, the ability to articulate your research in a proper manner. You may find 10 relevant case laws, but what is relevant within those case laws? And which one is the most relevant? Which one is the most recent? Which one is most likely to come in handy in this particular case? For example, if I have given you research for a particular case which is coming before judge A and B tomorrow in the Supreme Court, you come up with a judgment in which judge B was a was one of the judges sitting with, say, judge C or judge D, and that judgment is relevant for me. So that judgment will always hold precedence over other similar judgments that you have found. Why? Because the same judge is sitting in this combination. So these are the small things that you have to apply your mind on. These are the small, quick thinking stuff that you need to do on a regular basis. And that, again, how does it happen? It only happens through practice. So that is why practice is very, very important. The second and the most important thing, again, equally important thing, is sincerity. Sincerity is something that a lot of people lack, who may have a lot of talent, who may have a lot of potential, but what they lack is sincerity, and I would say the rigor to work in a place like a law firm. Because you see, a place like a law firm expects a lot out of you, and it expects a lot out of you regularly on a daily basis. It's not like if you work, say, for 10 hours on a day, on a given day, say on a Monday today, you get to have an off on Tuesday. You again wake up and do another 10 hours on Tuesday. So you have to do good work consistently, and that consistency only comes from your sincerity, your willingness to do it. So I would say two things that you should work on if you want to work at a firm or any place for that matter is quality research and sincerity. Now, the next thing is we need to understand a competitive CV look like. Could you please share a well presented CV that will make us more aware of how? I don't think, see, there is no one, again, there's no one particular CV which is like a perfect CV. Your CV can be, I'm telling you again very honestly, your CV can be a very simple bullet points, but it has to be very pointed. Again, an example for you. Worked on various provisions of the Arbitration Act. People write this kind of stuff in their CV. I'm asking you this question. One candidate has written, worked on various provisions of the Arbitration Act. Another candidate has written, worked on the parameters of challenge under Section 34 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act, or say, assisted in a matter where a private limited company had challenged an arbitral award under Section 34 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act, the prime question being the parameters of challenge under Section 34. Which one is more specific and which one is more attractive or more believable to a potential recruiter or a potential person who has to hire you as an intern or say as an associate? So the most important thing that needs to be in your CV, that needs to be in all CVs, is the pointedness. Don't be abstract. Don't be vague. Worked on the Constitution of India means nothing. Worked on the Arbitration and Conciliation Act means nothing. Worked on Companies Act means nothing. You have to be very specific and you have to mention what you did. What was your role? See, everybody knows that as an intern, you would have assisted in research. You would have probably given a note. You would have given case laws. You would have probably helped in some sort of strategy making. So be very honest and be very specific. There's no way, there's no purpose or there's no benefit in inflating what you did, because your potential recruiter is not stupid. Your potential recruiter knows what an intern does. They're not going to believe that you wrote the petition from the scratch and then went to the court next day and argued it and won it for the client. You're an intern, so you, of course, you have limited role, and that is completely okay. Insofar as you know what happened and what you did, it's completely fine. Then, second thing that you should do on a CV is, in order to write more, you should not write irrelevant stuff. For example, won an elocution competition in class 9th has no meaning for somebody who's stepping out of law school to get a job. Don't write all of this. Be very specific and keep your CV tailor made. If you're applying for a corporate job, don't write stuff like did social work between such and such period in such and such place. Or if you're applying for an NGO, no need to say that helped in drafting of a shareholders agreement for such and such client in such and such firm. So again, apply your mind. Be very mindful of what you are applying for. Do your research. Tailor your CV accordingly. There's no one CV. Again, there's no one CV that goes to all organizations. CVs change depending upon where the CV is going. So you have to be very mindful of what to put in a CV. And third, and the most important thing, CVs should not exceed 2 pages. Even if you're Stephen Hawking and you have achieved everything possible under the sun, CVs should not exceed 2 pages. There's nothing that you can do in law school which needs more than 2 pages. So always be short, always be crisp, always be to the point. Don't bore the concerned person with details, with unnecessary details. Bullet points, specific, and no unnecessary information. That is all that you need to keep in mind for a CV. And once that is there, I'm telling you, the presentation does not matter. This is what presentation is. The font does not matter. The spacing does not matter. As long as the font is standard, as long as the spacing is standard, as long as it is justified, everything is fine. Again, Yesha Mehta has a very pertinent question. When we struggle to come up with original ideas, especially for research papers or research. Now, see, this is one thing that you won't struggle with if you read legal updates daily. You don't have to do a lot. Just visit Live Law, Bar and Bench, or maybe two or three other portals daily and read what is maybe a Supreme Court Observer. Supreme Court Observer is also a very good website. So go to these websites regularly and see what is happening in the legal field. See what is being debated upon, what new law has come. If you don't have anything to write upon, just do a case commentary. Just do an analysis of a recent legislation which has come. And there are very many legislations coming every year. Do an analysis of the new criminal laws. Do an analysis of the arbitral award modification judgment that just got reserved. Do an analysis of the Mediation Act 2023. I'm telling you, there is no dearth of topics. If you're saying that there is dearth of topics, it means you're not visiting the websites properly. As junior, as people who are very, very junior in the profession, I will not hold it against you that you do not know exactly what is happening. But then you have to understand now things have become a lot easier for you. You have to think of students and people who graduated 20 years ago. I wouldn't even say me, because by the time I was graduating, there was still like things like live law had come into existence. But think of somebody who graduated 20 years ago. The only medium to learn at that point of time, the only way you could keep abreast of legal updates was newspapers and probably the legal journals. Some of you would not even have read legal journals. You might be in your fifth year, fourth year, but the legal journals have become so obsolete and so dated that you don't even need to read legal journals because of all the blogs and videos and everything that has come out. So you have to be a little grateful for all the development that has happened. It's to your benefit, and obviously it's for everybody's benefit. All of you are equally privileged or equally disadvantaged, but you have to make the most of it. There is no study material that is not available at your fingertips. You Google, you use Hein Online, you use JSTOR, you use Westlaw, and every material possible from every corner of the world, from every Commonwealth jurisdiction, civil law jurisdiction is at your fingertips. So research, just spend hours and hours on the internet, find more stuff, read more stuff. If you have the curiosity, I'm pretty sure you will never fall short of new topics. Aarti has a question. Aarti says it is disheartening thing when senior advocates suggest their female juniors that practice is not meant for. See, all of this is, pardon my French, but all of this is bullshit. There are very many female leading women lawyers in the profession, and they are doing really well. They are really inspirational, not just for the women, but also for men, also for people like me, who are junior members of the bar, and we look up to those senior women members, and they're inspirational for everyone, not just for the men, not just for the women, but also for the men. So do not listen to all of these things. These things may be stemming from their own personal biases and misogyny or whatever, their own patriarchal thought process. So you don't have to take somebody's word as a final gospel. You do not get discouraged. If for one person who is discouraging you, there are 100 people who are ready to encourage you. So do not listen to these people. Do not get swayed or do not get disheartened. You focus on what needs to be done. You focus on getting better, and of course, I can guarantee you that a lot of opportunities will open for you. Sir, I am from Kerala. See, whatever your name is, you appear as mastermind. I would suggest that whenever you want to practice, you should start applying. See, honestly, getting an internship at an AOR's office in the Supreme Court is not very difficult, but you need to start applying beforehand. So what you do is, from the Supreme Court website, there's a list of AORs available in the Supreme Court website. So you download that list. There's an email ID of all the AORs given. So you start applying to all of those email IDs well in advance. For example, if you want to intern in November, then you start applying in, say, June or July. You start sending them emails, and I'm sure, say, if 5 don't reply, 5 will definitely reply. Hi, sir. I'm a second year law student. I'm 31 years old and pursuing law after a break. I'm very much interested in corporate law. See, age is no criteria in hiring. One good thing about our profession is that age is not a criteria. Even a 19-year-old can start pursuing law, and a 60-year-old can also start pursuing law. So age is not a criteria. Of course, there would be a bias in favor of young people, but you're not old. Trust me. 31 is not old. You still have a lot of time. If you focus on your subject and you do your right internships, you can very well get a break at a law firm or a say at a in-house position. To enhance my Danish is asking to enhance my legal knowledge and transition into a corporate MNC role. Where should I focus my efforts? Same goes for you also, Danish. Uh, Focus on corporate developments. Focus on the developments which are taking in the corporate space. A corporate space broadly does not mean anything. Corporate may mean banking and finance laws. Corporate may mean the company law. It may mean competition law. It may mean IP law. All of this is commercial corporate. So you have to again identify what you're looking for. If you're looking for a job in the general corporate sector, then you need to work on your company law aspect. If you're looking for banking and finance, then you need to know the banking laws, the IBC, and all of that. So you need to identify. You need to be specific, and you need to identify uh, what exactly you're looking for. As a first year LLB student, what approach is required to energize oneself as to pursue judiciary? DRC, if you're a first year student, what you should focus on right now is learning your subjects properly and again participating in extracurricular activities. See, I don't think pursuing judiciary for you will be a difficult task 4 years later. If you read all your subjects properly and if you actually hone your skills as a lawyer by writing more papers, by participating in moot court competitions, debate competitions, what you need to do is basically practice. You need to read law, apply law, do more law related activities, and think about judiciary prep once you're in third year, not so early on. For now, you should try and focus more on enjoying college. Doing an internship is useful for doing judiciary. Yes, internship is very, very important. Just because you want to become a judge does not mean you should not do internships. Internships are important for everyone. Even if you don't want to become a lawyer, internships are still important for you because internships teach you the skill and the discipline of working in a place, in a workplace. And that is a very important soft skill, irrespective of, apart from all the legal learning. How to choose best senior for internship? There's nothing called a best senior for internship. You decide what area of law you're interested in. If somebody does tax law a lot and you want to do tax law, that is the best senior for you. If somebody does criminal law and you're interested in criminal law, that is the best senior for you. So you decide what you want to do, and basis that you apply to a lot of places. And you should work at all kinds of places. Even a bad place for an internship will teach you a lot so that you don't make the same mistake once you are out of law school for a job. And the last question is, does excelling in law school necessarily translate to success in legal practice and opportunities after? See, I don't think there is a particular formula that if you follow, you'll. I don't really think I am yet to experience success. So I don't know how to tell you how to be successful. So all I can tell you is, if you are true to your trade, if you practice, and if you consistently do what is required, if you consistently read, consistently write, consistently apply the law, consistently put yourselves to problems, I am pretty sure you will reap rewards. Because this is one profession that actually even at a say it, you may take time, even at a later stage, it rewards you if you are worthy of it. So what you should focus on is becoming worthy of your reward. Okay, I think that is it. Is doing an online internship okay? Yes, doing an online internship is okay. Take whatever opportunities come your way. If you think it's good for you in the overall scheme of things, an online internship is okay. That's not a problem. Okay,
Thank
all the
you
best.
so much, sir, for patiently answering all our questions. We really had a very wonderful Q&A segment, which now comes to an end. Before we bring this final discussion to a close, I would like to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude on behalf of entire council, and I would like to thank our esteemed speaker, Advocate Harshit, for gracing us with his presence and his invaluable insights. Your presence here today has been an inspiration to all of us, and we are immensely grateful uh, for you and the in depth knowledge that we really got. I would also like to thank all our council members who worked really hard to make this session possible. And we will further thank all our participants for their support and their really active participation. Before you all leave today's meeting, we have some post session activities which are there on the group, and you all can do those post session activities. Don't forget to follow us on our social media handles. And yes, we have 2 more days and 2 more sessions for you lined up tomorrow and day after tomorrow. So don't forget to join that. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Misha. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.